Thanks so much for joining me today. We are going to dive into the conversation in a moment. First, I wanted to remind you that the show notes and links mentioned on this podcast are on my website at lizacivicmarketing.com. That's Liza with a Z and Civic with an S. So, okay, let's get started.
Hello, magicians. It is Liza back with you again with lots and lots of marketing magic and to talk about some myths we can debunk as always. Today, I have Mackenzie Armstrong of Armstrong Virtual Solutions with me, and I'm very, very excited to talk to her because she is going to talk about one of my favorite subjects to talk to clients about, and that is the value of Pinterest. It's not just social media. So welcome, Mackenzie. How are you today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk about Pinterest.
I love talking about Pinterest. It's not just a bulletin board for crafts, guys, I promise. As a matter of fact, once you introduce guys to it that don't know about it, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I found this bar I could build. Oh, I found this deck I could build. I mean, there's so much on Pinterest. I think the guys I know just don't talk about being on there. So there's a lot on there for everybody, especially for businesses. So we're going to focus on that today. I mean, obviously. And then we will talk about some ways to make it even more valuable and to leverage Pinterest as a great way to get new leads, which is my favorite thing. So Mackenzie, tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got here, and what you're doing now. You know, something completely over your entire life. Go.
For sure. So I originally started out in a former life as a teacher and decided to stay home with my kids and never looked back. So glad I'm not virtual teaching right now during this crazy pandemic time.
Your friends are all going, yes, you are.
Yes. So glad I made the jump. So I originally started out as a virtual assistant and decided that Facebook was not my jam and wasn't about being on Facebook all the time. So I decided to just niche down to solely Pinterest strategy and management and have never looked back. I love Pinterest. It's such a good avenue to really find anything you need, which is awesome. So anybody can find anything on Pinterest, and I'm here for it. So
that's right. If we didn't have Pinterest, I would have a bulletin board that surrounds my entire office with every idea I found that I printed out. So we're also saving trees with Pinterest, right? So for sure, right. And we're basically all just hoarding more and more digital information, but that's okay because that's working for us as business owners. I love Pinterest. If I want to know something beyond just finding YouTube, that's where I go for a lot of things. I've leveraged it for a lumber distributor. I've leveraged it for car dealerships. I mean, there's a lot you can do with Pinterest. It's not just about showing a picture or showing a link to, a tutorial. There's a lot you can do with Pinterest, right?
Yes. So what I tell my clients is, you want to put anything on Pinterest that is any type of creative content. It could be a blog, it could be a podcast, it could be a craft, it could be a DIY, it could be anything. It could be a how to self-care, anything like that is really great to put on Pinterest. And the best thing about Pinterest is it's free. It is free organic marketing that you don't have to pay for. And it really grows itself, which is awesome. And it doesn't get lost in the Facebook or Instagram shuffle. So that's the one thing that I love about Pinterest.
Yes, Zuckerberg hasn't bought it yet. Give it time. He'll try.
No, we're trying to stay away.
Get away from us, Zucky. No, it's, and I've said this in other podcasts, a recent one, I think. So pardon the redundancies, my listeners. But the thing with Facebook now is it started out as this, college app, and now there's nobody under 30 on it. So if you're trying to find any demographic, all the way from teenagers to retirees, Pinterest is a great place. It doesn't limit you. And I've heard it called many times a search engine, not a social media. And that is so true. But the average person doesn't know that, right?
Yes. So Pinterest. So I think of Pinterest as Google and Instagram had a baby, and that seems to be a common thought as well amongst other Pinterest people. But basically, it is a visual search engine, which is awesome. So that way, how many times do you sit there and have to scroll through Google and have to read each description to find out what you need? Whereas Pinterest, it's like, oh, let me just put an awesome picture that's going to grab attention. So that's really a great way, a great avenue to really get your content in front of people by pulling on different aesthetics, things that they like, which is awesome because you're really able to hone in your audience with, I think, visually, because something that I think looks crazy, like awesome, is not maybe something that you like, which is you're able to draw in your audience in different ways, which I think is fantastic.
True. I mean, you can put more than one Pinterest up for the same subject with different text or different pictures to grab different people's attention. It's like mega A/B testing because you've got it all out there and then you can see which one does well and follow that format. One of the things I know works really well is when you put text over a picture. So you're getting the visual people, you're getting the text people, you're getting everybody. And you can advertise for money on Pinterest, right? But you don't have to. I don't feel that that's right now something you have to do. And so that free organic search, that's big for smaller companies, right? That's huge.
For sure. And I really suggest that before, if you are looking into paid ads on Pinterest, that you have a strong organic audience already, because your ads are going to fall flat if you don't have that backbone of that organic strategy already in place.
Oh,
you really
so
want to
true.
nurture your audience. Yes.
Yeah, there's some magic, guys, and breaking that myth.
Yes,
It's not going to help you.
You do not have to pay for it. So totally start off. And the great thing about Pinterest is they're constantly learning, and Pinterest really, with their last algorithm change, I would say back in April-ish, they really are starting to really want new creative people. They don't want the same old Joe Schmo that's been on Pinterest and you constantly see their content. They are craving new people. So this is the time to really get in and get your business in on Pinterest, because they are wanting that new content. They are, lack of a better term, salivating for it. That is why they're creating all of these new features to Pinterest. You have video pins, which are now going to start being cataloged, which are going to be searchable. You have idea pins, which is what they're really wanting. That's their way of really getting that new creative content out there. They want that idea pin, and the basis with the idea pin is they want you to stay on Pinterest. Idea pins want you to stay, even though ideally Pinterest is really wanting to bring people together to get you to get to other people's content. So that's the new shift with Pinterest, that they're really trying to add in a little bit of that social media aspect. They're wanting you to stay on the platform. They're wanting you to engage. They're wanting you to like people's content. They're wanting you to comment and tell them if you've tried it, what you've done, how did you change it, things like that. They're wanting everybody's input, which is awesome. And it really kind of helps build that community of people that are able to help other people or reach other people, which is awesome.
That's huge. That Pinterest is doing so much more with engagement. That's a huge shift. I'm glad you brought that up. And video pins are fantastic because they're really going to grab your attention. You can actually put a little, flair to, this is who we are beyond just this picture. And again, try a short video. Videos can be made with a few still photos, guys. You don't have to set up a camera, get a news crew. Look at me. Well, don't look at me. It's a podcast. But look at me. I've just got my webcam. I've got a good webcam, but it costs me less than $100. That's all you have to do. You can do it on your phone. Get a good phone. And so don't be afraid.
And I've made great video pins with just a scroll screen on a mock computer setup where your screen is scrolling, and that's a great video pin because that's bringing in people's content, but it's also geared towards people that are not looking for video. And another thing that I wanted to mention was when you're looking at your data from Pinterest after you've set up your account and linked your website, you're really able to see who is gravitating towards your content. There might be a whole separate audience that you may never have thought of to reach out to or to play to their strengths, that can bring in more clientele and more email, grow your email list and all that kind of stuff. So it's really everything about Pinterest, the analytics to how the platform is set up is a great way to really grow your audience. You're able to really see who you're identifying with, and it might not be who you thought it was, which is awesome. It really helps the business grow as well, in their mindset.
And that's definitely true, not who you thought, not only going back to what we said, where we think of a certain person using Pinterest, and that's so not the truth anymore. Everybody uses Pinterest. And if you're not using Pinterest, people get on there. It is a rabbit hole. You will disappear for like the first 4 days until you get used to it, because it's like, oh, and not a rabbit hole like 10 celebrity breakup rabbit holes where, your brain is atrophying as you read, but which I do all the time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not insulting anyone who loves those, because I read those stupid things all the time. But if you're in Pinterest, you're like, oh, I think I want to do a chalk finish on my nightstand. And the next thing you know, you're like, look at these dressers that are antique and I can put like alcohol ink and glitter on. Like, how did I end up here? And that's crafts. You can do that with business too. And that's why, when I put up pins for Meta decking, for instance, they have people looking on there during COVID with the homeowners. Suddenly there was a whole new audience that we didn't know we could grab that quickly, because COVID changed everything so fast. And they're looking up there going, well, what kind of deck do I want? Because I'm really sick of standing here looking at my backyard. And, I want to redo it, or I want to put a deck, or I don't want to go out to a restaurant, so let me put an outdoor kitchen. And not being on there would have missed all those homeowners and property owners. And it's been a real boon for a lot of people during COVID, when everyone was home going click, 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 click. What can I look for? What can I do? What can I do for DIY of any kind?
Sure.
So now, who's your target audience? Who are you trying to reach with your strategy with Pinterest?
So there are many different avenues that you can do on Pinterest. I've done a few product-based, but really now I've really honed in and focused on working with coaches, people that are creating or who have creative content that they're wanting to put out, that podcast, that blog post. The thing about Pinterest is, because they're wanting new creative people, they want new content. So they're really, really focusing on that content that you're creating that has a new URL, which is really key. They want a new URL to send people to. So that's a little tidbit to really focus on when you're putting out your content in Pinterest. Also, they really want, I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay. That happens to me all the time. We'll take that part out, or maybe we won't. We'll see.
Okay.
It happens to all of us.
But
It makes me look good when someone else forgets what they're saying. I completely distracted you. The train has derailed. There are no thought survivors. Yes, go ahead.
So they really want that new content, but that's not saying that you can't put out that old content that's doing really, really well. Look in your back end. What past blog post or podcast has done really well? Look at the past year. What month is it? July. What did really well last July? So let's put out some new assets or new graphics for those pins or for that content. Because the thing with Pinterest is, with Facebook, you could go viral and it lasts for 24 hours and then it fizzles out. But with Pinterest, it's a super slow grow. You are aiming to where you want your content. So what you're making now is going to be seen in 3 to 6 months from now. That's you. It takes that long to process and to really vet your content, to make sure that Pinterest wants to make sure that what you're putting out is what your pin is describing. They don't want any miscommunication there. So they really want to.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's like Google meta descriptions. If you're not putting something in there that is what the customer is actually asking and looking for, forget it. It's never going to get shown. So Pinterest is a similar thought process there for us. Okay.
Yes, for sure. So you want to make sure that you're putting out a graphic that's really describing what you're talking about. But the thing with Pinterest is I have clients who put out a blog post in 2017 and it's still one of their highest um, looked at content, their highest people that are gravitated towards it. That doesn't mean that it needs to fizzle out. Keep making those graphics and things for it and keep putting it back out there to be fresh content because it's still going to grab people's attention. But also don't forget, put in your new content as well. And Pinterest is really wanting consistency, and whatever your consistency is, great. You stick to what you do. Don't think about what Sally's doing next door and what Joe's doing down the street. You need to do and stick to what you want to do. If you're putting out one blog post a month, then continue to put out one blog post a month. Pinterest new analytics, or not new analytics, but new AI is able to really hone in on what you are doing specifically, each person. So if you're putting out 5 blog posts a month and I'm only putting out 1, it's not going to matter, because if I stay consistent and you stay consistent, we're going to see that growth, that slow grow. But but the longevity of your content, the searchability of your content is so much more extended than on Facebook and Instagram. And
Definitely.
also,
Definitely.
because you have that searchability is so long, Pinterest also helps you rank better on Google as well. It can help your Google ranking and bring you up. So
everybody just sat up and said,
yes. So make sure.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's beneficial to be on Pinterest. So
it is. Thank you for saying that again.
Try to find time to do it. And if not, then see if your VA or somebody can help you with it. But I truly believe it's worth putting in the time and effort to get it going and get it flowing and get your content out there, because what's the point of having a blog post or a podcast if nobody's going to see it? Pinterest is going to get it in front of people. And that's what I love.
That's perfect. You described it perfectly. And one of the things that I found that people don't always understand is you don't have to keep rewriting new content for everything. You don't have to come up with new words to describe your pin. You've already got, if you've done it right, you've already got the macro content of the meta description of your blog or your DIY or your page. And you can take that meta description and add it, yes, with some hashtags. It's okay to use hashtags on Pinterest, right? That's still a good idea?
I would do 1 or 2 if you have the space, but Pinterest is tending to pull away because they're not clickable anymore. They used to be clickable, but now they're not. So
okay, good point. Yeah, glad we brought that up then. So you put in your meta description and you make sure it describes what you've got in there. You put a good picture to tell people what it's about, and with alt text, the whole bit. But it's the same. It's the same alt text, the same meta description that you're using for Google, that you're using for your blog, on your website. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you put up a pin. But you might want to try it with one of each picture from the blog to see who it grabs and see what is happening, with the audience. Let's talk a little bit about analytics. One of the myths I have to break a lot, and I'm going to be talking about this soon on my website, is impressions versus visitors. And I think people think impressions are this great thing. We've got more people seeing our post or seeing our Google ad or seeing our listing, but impressions are just people driving by. They're not clicking, they're not engaging, which it's great that Pinterest is really pushing people towards engagement now and sharing things. One of the things that I notice in Pinterest is people save it, but they don't always open it. And I mean, I'm guilty of that. Anybody who really loves Pinterest is guilty of that. Save. Oh, I've already saved that fire pit picture, or I've already saved this, or I've already saved that. Well, I'm going to save, I want to save it again, but I'll put it in a different category. Oh, I remember one of my children, when they were young, had a Pinterest blog that may have had something to do with weddings and Disney and other things. It had like over 2,000 pictures in it. They were very young still, It was there like what little girls used to do with a binder of pictures for magazines, but now they have Pinterest. And, you're not reading 2,000 articles.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, maybe you are, but You're saving all of them. So what do we want to look for in the analytics of if they're saving it, what's that going to do for us to get exposure to other people? Or if they're reading it and clicking through to our website, obviously that's valuable. What do we want to look for in the analytics with these new changes?
Okay, so I look at, so I'll go down the list that they have for analytics. So I look at impressions to see if my keywords are working for me. If I don't see that this pin's getting a lot of impressions, then I need to go back and look at my keywords, because obviously I'm not hitting on what people are searching for. So I kind of use that as just as a broad kind of like checkup for my keywords.
Right.
A pin, if your pin is clicked pin, then that is that they brought up a big picture of it. So that I say is, okay, so they liked my graphic. So that might be something to look at in terms of how you're going to adjust your strategy. Now, outbound clicks, that means that they went from your pin to your website. So that is what I solely focus on when I look at, is my account growing, or is my strategy working well? And then there's saves. And saves, I also think about the graphic. You liked my graphic, so maybe let me make some more graphics that might catch your attention, but maybe change up my text overlay to really get you to click it. So I kind of look at all those different aspects to kind of gauge how my strategy is working and what needs to fluctuate, or, hey, this type of pin, the look of this pin, it's not doing well on a few of my pins that I've created. So I'm going to nix that design and look at some other types of designs, or change up the design, or look at something that's doing really well and just kind of change it a little bit to really reach those people that was clicking the previous design. So
that's a really great breakdown. Thank you. That makes it very easy to understand for the layman. And staying away from the lingo, it's telling you exactly what the analytics dashboard is going to say. So those are great things to know. And you're right, impressions mean that people are even seeing your storefront. If they're not coming down your digital road and they're not seeing you, there's definitely a problem.
Yeah.
But that's only a big overview umbrella. And I like how you said saves means the graphics probably working. That's good. That's good to know. So hold on, I lost my thought. See, the outbound train is not working over here. So when you're doing service pins, you still want DIY, you still want ideas. I'm learning that, and Neil Patel did a whole blog about this, that marketing has changed. If you guys don't follow Neil Patel, go check that out. Marketing has changed to a question and a number in front of how many tips or designs or ideas. And if you can make your format or your title include that, right now it's performing like in this behemoth way. People just want their question answered so directly that they want to see the question in their mind in like the first line of what you're doing. So I know you're seeing that on Pinterest, but how do we leverage that without being fake? I like to stay authentic. I like to say, so if you've got a great blog, let me back up. If you've got a great blog that was doing really well, but you want to repost it as a new URL so that Pinterest goes bright and shiny, we're going to show this one again from, like you said, 2017. Can you format it again by using a title like that, but not actually have like 10 things? Or, you could certainly put the question in the text over the picture if that's working for you. How would we leverage that with older blogs, do you think? If a client asked you, how would you do that?
Well, I would say not necessarily having to use a number, even though Pinterest really likes the number, but you could say quick tips or easy DIY, or using those keywords that people are really I hate to say it, but people now are lazy and they want the quick fix.
We are.
They want the quick
whole
fix.
Goldfish 8-second thing isn't true, but we're getting really close to that, aren't we?
Yes. So bad.
Call me Dory. Yeah.
But you want to make it as simple and easy as possible. So when I'm leveraging that type of content, I like to make that into an idea pin. Because so how I format it is where I will create pins for that blog post and post them. And then the second day or third day that I have, like, so I might create five pins for that one new blog post, and they go one each day. So if I start on Monday, on Wednesday, I'll go make an idea pin that's like just like quick little tips from that blog post or that podcast. Like, hey, self-care, paint your nails, read a book, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like just something quick that I'm pulling from that content. And then idea pins don't link back to anything. You can't, if it's a big no-no to put a link in it, so don't put a link in it. They will not show your content. So
that's so counterintuitive for some people. I know. Yeah.
no, I know. It was a struggle at the beginning. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, I just wanted to click to my content. But but on that third day, I say, follow me for there's like they want you to tell them to follow you or check out your content or check out your profile or whatever. You still want that CTA, that call to action. So I say, follow me for more tips and tricks on self-care. And then ta-da, when they go to my page, the first few pins that are there, the first few static pins that I've created are the self-care. So it's easy, quick. Okay, so this is exactly what I was looking for. This is why I came to this profile. Let me click the content that I want to see. So
and hopefully subscribe and follow. Right.
Yes. So that's kind of how I try to gear kind of refreshing some things. It's easy to, on an idea pin, to pull out 3 small snippets of information. And it doesn't have to be like quick tips or anything like that, but just like people just want to know. So just put it to them in their
quote that gives them an answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Be like, hey,
yeah, definitely.
What do you do for self-care or whatever? You know what I mean? I keep going back to self-care because that's, I don't know. I must have just
you
done
and I
self-care
both need a massage today. Let's be honest. That's why we're doing it. We're throwing that out there for our massage therapist friends. Hey guys, just tinting, subliminal. So yeah, I think you're so spot on with this, obviously, because this is your expertise. But this is so spot on and what people need to know more about, because I don't think that people see Pinterest as low-hanging fruit, like a really easy way to do a few pins and get it out there, because you don't have to keep doing it every week. You get a few done a month. You batch work it at the beginning. All right, on the first Monday of the month, I'm going to try to get up some pins for my blogs. Just start there, just start there.
And, it goes back to that consistency, like start there and work slowly up. And then when you get to a good point of where you feel like you feel good where you are, then just be consistent there. And then give it 3 weeks and Pinterest will kind of learn again what you are consistent with, and then just keep going with it. And if you're in a good place, it's just going to be easy flowing. You're getting your content out and you're getting it in front of your audience, your clients. And then when you start to see that you're getting more traction on your website, it's going to put a little bit more of a fire under you to really get out there and get that Pinterest going. Because when you start seeing it, it's going to be magical for you.
It is. Thank you for working the podcast theme. It's going to be magical. And it's true though, because it's something that when you do anything that's working, you're going to feel better about it. Oh, I'm actually going to see a reward from this. And stick it out those 3 weeks and that 3 to 6 months, because it can be low hanging fruit and it's not really, really difficult to do right, but you need guidance. And this is where obviously Mackenzie comes in. Mackenzie, I know that you have a strategy for lead generation specifically for Pinterest. That's what you do. How do they start that with you? Like, where do you start with helping them with that strategy?
So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you have your account. You have a business account on Pinterest and you link your website. You will get no data, no analytics if your website is not linked to your Pinterest. Yes. And how you know this is there'll be a little circle, looks like a little world symbol next to your website on your Pinterest profile. Yeah. If you don't have that little circle emblem, then something is not right and you need to get that connected. And then after that, then
the globe,
you can really,
yes, the globe.
You can start gathering all that information. So starting there.
It's important. Yeah.
Yes, it really is. And making sure that you optimize your profile. Every piece remember, Pinterest is a search engine. It's not Facebook, and Instagram. So make sure that you are utilizing every description, every profile description, every pin description, every board description, your titles, even your little caption under your name. Make sure that all of that is utilized and you're pulling in the keywords that your audience is searching for, not what you think your audience is searching for. So make sure that you are looking into that as well.
I fight against but this is what I think my audience is looking for all the time. Stop guessing, people. And if you're listening to this, you know not to guess now. Yes, so I think that this is really practical information on something not a lot of people know they can leverage. And if you're just starting out, you can do the things we've talked about. If you need more help, obviously, Mackenzie is there for you. I am here for SEO questions always. You know that I will be more than happy to talk to you for 15 minutes with no sales pitch, just to answer questions. Mackenzie, you have an offer on your website to get them started, right?
Yes, I have a link that will send you a free Pinterest audit checklist / setup. It'll give you a quick little checklist of what you need to do to get your account ready to be seen by your audience. So make sure you go ahead and grab that. It's going to be awesome. It's going to really help you to get started.
Yes, so you can either go to her website, which is armstrongvirtualsolutions.com. And how else can they find you?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, even though I'm there, but not seen.
But you're on Pinterest, I know. So.
Yes, I am on Pinterest. You can find me on Pinterest. But really just check out my website. If you guys want to chat or anything like that, you can send me an email, or my email is the same, armstrongvirtualsolutions@gmail.com. And I would happily answer any questions you have, or if you want to hop on a call, we can definitely chat face to face.
Yes. And you have given me some great ideas and information when we talked before this too. And it's hard to keep up with these algorithms that are constantly changing. Pinterest is not quite so bad, but it's, the hashtag thing I had heard, but you just confirmed it. And, I'm a big fan of hashtags, but if they're not working, then don't do them anymore. So this is really great information. I think anybody can kind of start with this and see where it goes. So, guys, please make sure to leave a comment and check out her links on our site and check out her site, and her offer is there. And thank you so much, Mackenzie, for being here today. This has been fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me. I love talking about Pinterest. So anytime.
Like Pinterest parties on a video and just make stuff. And you guys have heard about those Pinterest parties where you're like, oh, we're just going to make something we found on Pinterest. You don't even have to find your own content. Just go find one on Pinterest and then video, doing it. I'm kidding. You can, but I'm kidding. This is fantastic. Thank you so much. I really appreciated the information that you dropped today, because I think everybody can benefit from this, even if they're already using Pinterest. So I appreciate you so much. And I hope we see you back here again soon.
Yes, thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Wow, another fantastic conversation done. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Don't forget that all the links mentioned will be in the show notes at lizacivicmarketing.com. And while you're there, if you're a business owner whose marketing is on life support, check out the Your Virtual Marketing Department offer and take the Marketing Health Report quiz for free. For less than the cost of a full-time hire, we can take your marketing from frustrating to lead generating with an entire marketing team. So check that out, and I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Marketing Myths and Magic, part of the Xvadio Podcast Network. You can find us at xvadio.com/podcasts, as well as the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and wherever you find podcasts.